Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Philippines, where we are getting ready to close out our Luzon travel diaries with a bang. We wrap up our adventures in one of the most beautiful places in the Philippines and perhaps the world, none other than the rice terraces of Ifugao. Although these rice terraces are among the most iconic landmarks of the Philippines, few people get the chance to visit them, owing in large part to the difficult journey to reach them. They might not be easy to get to, but they are well worth the effort. These several thousand-year-old terraces are a true marvel and have even been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the Philippines' only such attractions. After hopping on a bus and leaving behind the tranquil mountain town of Sagada, we find ourselves here in the quiet, unassuming village of Banaue, the gateway to our adventures in Ifugao. We are staying at the Uyami Greenview Hotel, serving as a place to rest our heads for the night before moving deeper into the countryside to fully immerse ourselves in these unique landscapes. The view from our hotel gives us a tantalizing glimpse of what is to come. Gazing out of the window as we have our lunch, we are welcomed by lush green landscapes and layered rice terraces as far as the eye can see. We make a quick visit to the Banaue Museum to give us context to these ancient wonders, which date back thousands of years and required monumental manpower to carve into the Cordilleras of the northern Philippines. Our visit to the museum is made even more special as we are privately guided by one of the village elders who gives us her personal insight to the history of Banaue, the traditions of the Ifugao people, and a sentimental look back at her own relationship with her home village. This is truly one of the most fascinating regions of the Philippines, so rich with heritage, tradition, and culture. And also cats. Today serves as a good introduction to Ifugao, but we are just getting started. The following morning, we negotiate with one of the tricycle drivers in the small town center of Banaue, and he agrees to take us to our intended destination, Batad, along with a few stops at various viewpoints. Here we can soak in the breathtaking views of some of the lesser-known rice fields of the region. The winding mountain roads are often a challenge for the tricycle, and after about an hour of careening along the bumpy terrain, we end up at a small shop at the top of the hill. The tricycle driver informs us that he can take us no further, and looking down at the steep hill at our feet, we completely understand. We grab our bags and begin the final stretch to hike to the town of Batad, situated on the hillside of the UNESCO World Heritage Site known as the Batad Amphitheater. About 30 minutes of walking later, we finally reach our cozy little homestay, the Batad Countryside Inn.
Okay, welcome, Batad Countryside. Whew, lots of hiking everywhere you want to go.
Here now at the beautiful Batad Rice Terraces, staying here at this place called Batad Countryside Inn. Just a stunning place with incredible views. You can see it from here. That is where the sun rises, mountains off into the distance. And here you have the beautiful rice terraces, perhaps most beautiful in the world, I would say, at least of the many that I've been to. This is incredible, just on another level, carved completely into the side of this mountain. And what's crazy is just how ubiquitous these rice terraces are. They're everywhere. For how small that little town down there is, just so much rice. We spend the rest of the afternoon getting settled in, sipping on our coffees with a view, playing songko, also known as mangkala, while soaking it all in and watching the weather change over this lush region of the Philippines. No Wi-Fi or cell signal here, it is a true escape into nature. After the long bumpy ride and short but steep hike to get here, a slow afternoon is much needed, especially once the storms come in and blanket the entire landscape in gray. For a tiny homestay so isolated in the deep jungly mountains of Ifugao, the food here is surprisingly incredible, and we feast up in preparation for tomorrow's hike, where we will fully dive into the rice terraces, jungles, and waterfalls. We fall asleep to the sounds of crickets and the rustling of leaves, and we are as far away from the urban jungle of Manila as can be. Boots for our little hike. Rise and shine, baby! It is hiking day, and we kick things off with a hearty breakfast, myself going for the classic tosilog and trula, feasting on some pancakes and fresh jam. An excellent way to start the day. The sun is shining and the weather could not be more perfect. Without further ado, let us set off on our journey through the Batad Rice Terraces. And for now, I will shut up and let the natural beauty do the talking. Tara na! How cool. The amphitheater. Hello, friend. Hello, my beautiful friends.
Hi.
It's called the amphitheater. I don't know why.
It's almost an amphitheater.
Okay, thank you. May not look like it on camera, but this is so unbelievably steep, and these stairs are very diagonal. So you gotta be very, very careful going down to these waterfalls, pretty much one step at a time. I can't imagine treating these like real stairs, but we're gonna get there. It's gonna suck going up. The descent into the rice fields was a steep and arduous one, a constant downhill battle where we tried to distract ourselves from the dread of the inevitable journey back up the mountain. Thankfully, the village of Batad's serene atmosphere and the plethora of scenic views did a great job of capturing our attention and keeping us motivated to continue. It is really difficult to properly describe this place and give justice to its magnificence. Gazing upon its jagged mountains covered in impenetrable forest, one cannot help but be amazed at the hard work and sheer tenacity it required to carve these cascading rice terraces out of such a formidable natural environment. The pools of water reflecting the blue skies and rural Philippine scenes only added to how surreal everything was. Needless to say, there were plenty of excuses made for photo stops to catch our breath and take it all in. I see our accommodation. You see it? It's literally the tallest one up there.
Highest point.
Yeah.
We gotta go back up there.
Oh no. About an hour and a half later, we found ourselves leaving behind the rice terraces and descending into the jungle along an overgrown trail. I like this trail. It looks like they made it and then never touched it again. At long last, we felt the refreshing cool mist blowing at our faces as we caught our first glimpse of the secluded Tappiya Waterfalls. While they might not be the tallest or most impressive of waterfalls, they were beautiful nonetheless. The trip here was well worth it once we were able to dunk our hot, sweaty selves into its cool waters and rest our aching legs. Being the only ones here really added to the paradise lost vibes. The dense jungle, the pristine landscapes, an oasis of turquoise waters in a sea of deep green. It felt surreal being here in this hidden gem of the Philippines. Alas, all good things must come to an end. It was time to face the music, aka the uphill battle back to the Batad Countryside Inn, situated at the very top of Barangay Batad. This waterfall would have been much more enticing had it been our reward upon finishing this brutal uphill stretch, but we tried to keep the whispers of its memory alive as we began the journey back up the mountain. Unfortunately, its memory did not last long, especially in the brutal Philippine heat and humidity. About halfway, we stopped for lunch at the lone restaurant in town, which was pretty much only open upon demand, and most of its offerings revolved around rice and your choice of canned food. Hard to complain with a view like this, though. We also stumbled upon another traveler, the only other one that we met in the area, and serendipitously, our new friend Lok turned out to be from Nepal, where we would be heading for the first time in literally a week. I don't meet too many travelers from Nepal, and here in this secluded Philippine farming town, it might have been my last guess for where we would meet a Nepali tour guide when we needed one most. Funny how the world works, hey? We told him our upcoming plans for Nepal, and he seemed a bit tentative upon hearing our ambitious trekking goals, and determined to show him that we would not be completely helpless in the Himalayas. We did our best to crush the final uphill stretch back to our homestay. The rest of the evening was filled with coffees, card games, and more sungko until we scarfed down a well-deserved meal and closed out our last night of traveling around northern Luzon. The next morning, we would catch the first jeepney out of Batad back towards Banaue. With such limited public transportation, the able-bodied men had to sit atop the jeepney, but no complaints here because it gave me one more hour to fully take in the views and breathe that refreshing mountain air before heading back towards Manila later that afternoon. What an adventure this was, and a fitting end to our Luzon travel diaries. I really hope that I've been able to give you guys a glimpse of what the Philippines has to offer beyond its chaotic cities and typical island destinations. My home country is so rich in heritage, culture, and unique landscapes, and every moment that I spend traveling across its 7,641 islands makes me more and more proud. Maraming salamat, Pilipinas, for the unforgettable adventure. And thank you guys for following along. I hope you enjoyed the ride. If you did, make sure to toss over a like, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned for more adventures from the Philippines, Asia, and beyond as I continue to make my way across the world as a full-time nomad for 10 years and counting. Appreciate you all, much love, and see you guys on the next video.